conceptual perspective. People talk about it as success, all of the elements.
Hello everybody, Dr. Rick here dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your weekend. It's been a busy day for me already so far, but we're still moving forward. Look, this is going to be a power-packed weekend for me one way or another, but I definitely need to sit in front of you just for a brief moment to amplify the need and the crisis. You have heard me consistently at the beginning of every video talk about the need for support, to ask you to support the fundraiser. It is nothing new that the support for the work that we do in the community, not just at the Odyssey Project, not just with Black Men Lead and all the other programs we have, but in so many grassroots areas. You see it. You see the nonprofit industrial complex, the hijacking of real, true grassroots movements by organizations like Black Lives Matter that people like Darren Seals, Nyota Yoro, myself tried to warn you about early in the game, that they were hijacking the movement, that they were misdirecting and redirecting funds that were meant to support a movement where we were actually seeing something very unique and powerful happen. Well, it's the same. We have a tendency to get behind things because they have a big name. We have a tendency to get behind things because of name recognition. I understand branding and all that, but the thing is, the things in the programs that are actually working, the things that are actually changing lives are very rarely going to be supported by mainstream, because mainstream does not benefit from the empowerment of our people. Mainstream has from day one used our people to elevate themselves, from slavery to Reconstruction to convict leasing, Jim Crow, redlining, benign neglect, urban renewal, mass incarceration, miseducation, gentrification, and I go on. It's been a consistent use and misuse and mishandling of an oppressed people that everybody uses. Think about it. The blueprint for migrants who come to this country is to put up a shop in a Black community because they'll spend money and cipher out money of their community the moment it comes in, where everybody else is bouncing their money a minimum of 3 times up to 17 times before that money leaves their community. Our money leaves our community within 6 hours of us having it, because everything in our community isn't owned by us. Everything in our community isn't ran by us, and the things that are ran by us don't get the support that it should. We have programs that work. One of the biggest issues we consistently talk about are the violence in the Black community, the mental instability or emotional instability of Black males, but we don't talk about where it comes from. We don't talk about how to change it. Now, I have for years talked about it. I've talked about understanding the origin of African-American adolescent and young adult male violence, understanding the importance of racial socialization, understanding the importance of environmental influence, understanding that you've got to create a situation to grow and develop strong boys so that we aren't constantly trying to heal broken men. I've done this consistently over and over again. I've written about it in books. I've lectured about it till I'm blue in the face. I've probably got at least 400 videos up talking about that specifically. And yet we get to the point to where we still are not supporting programs that will empower us. We talk about Black empowerment as if it's an automatic, like if we just keep living, we're going to get what we deserve. No, if we don't start working, we're going to get what we produce. And what we're producing right now is very little, because we are constantly buying into this idea of individualism, chasing the American dream, being very isolated and not being able to connect and relate to the people who are part of our enclave or part of our community. Everybody else has community, no matter how they deal with each other, no matter how they get along. There's community. There's community in the Hispanic community. There's community in the Arab community. There's community everywhere except with us. With us is individualism. With us is trying to aspire and get somewhere else where everybody else is at to show we've made it. And in the process, nothing is happening for us on a collective level. So we get frustrated in our political arena. We get frustrated when we can't get the right funding for our business. We get frustrated when we can't get proper schooling and education for our children, but we are not being invested in creating the proper environment. Once again, this weekend we are pushing to raise $10,000 for Black Men Lead specifically, and to raise a total of $25,000 for all the programs that we are spearheading and have been spearheading for years. This isn't new for me. This is something that's been going on, and anybody that's followed can go back and look back. This is my second go round on YouTube. They pulled the other one some years ago, and we never got back to full speed on that as for subscribership, but hey, it is what it is. I'm never going to be the sensational person. I'm never going to be the person running around gossiping and talking about everybody else and tearing everybody else down. So I'm never going to have a whole bunch of people, because we like that. We like conflict. We like being at odds with one another. We like disrespect. I'm not about that. I'm about building. I'm about finding common ground. I'm about finding commonality. I don't expect anybody to agree with everything I believe, and I'm not going to agree with everything anybody else believes. But we got to find common ground. We've got to find things. And I think one thing we should have common ground on is that if we don't change the trajectory of the predominant population of Black males, we're going to have a problem. There's already 1 million Black men, 1.5 million Black men missing. We know that 1.1 of those are in prison. Out of the 2.3 million people in prison in the U.S., 1.1 of those are Black men. While we make up a very small portion of the population, we make up a very large percentage of the prison population. It's not an accident. One way that we mitigate that is by properly racially socializing young Black males. We know that, number one, they're less likely to drop out of school, and we know that if a child drops out of school, out of high school, they are 5 times more likely to become incarcerated. So when we reduce the dropout rate, we simultaneously reduce the incarceration rate. We are reducing violence. Racial socialization is the most powerful influencer right now on the proclivity of violence in any situation, and definitely within impoverished and Black communities. We have to have a rite of passage. Why does it work? Because it gives the child an identity. It gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them something they don't have now, a place. It gives them a reason for being. It gives them value. The moment that they see value in themselves, they see value in their lives, they automatically see it in the lives of their brother. But if they can't see value in themselves, it's going to be hard to value anyone who looks like them. If they see everything else as having more value than them, they're going to have a problem being able to protect things that look like them, to be able to embrace things that look like them. And we're seeing it also on the female side, and we have programs for that as well. Look, we are going to need support. Yes, it's great to like, it's great to share, it's great to subscribe, but at the end of the day, none of that stuff supports and gives the resources necessary to make this program much bigger than it is now, and to reach out and touch the lives of people on a national scale. Are we doing great work? Absolutely. We've proven over and over again it works. That's why we have the data. The data already shows it works. We need to be able to reach more of them. We need to be able to be consistent in our message. We also need to be able to universally define Black manhood, so that everybody knows what we're supposed to be looking for in our men, what we're supposed to be expecting from our men, what we're supposed to be doing as men. It needs to be a universal definition of what manhood is, outside of what these social constructs are presenting to us and asking us to pull and hold on. So much more to manhood than getting the bag. Ain't nothing wrong with the bag, but if you don't have character with it, if you don't have a desire to protect, if you don't have a desire to provide, if you don't have a desire to be a priest, if you don't have a desire to speak into the lives of those that you are covering and speak life into them, speak direction and passion into them, speak purpose into them, if you don't have all of that on top of the bag, then we're lost. And my goal is to get as many young black boys as possible to buy into these principles of manhood. Number one principle, the one thing we enforce more than anything else, is that black man never brings harm to a black woman. And that is so important when we look at the fact that the second leading cause of death for black females age 15 to 44 is intimate partner homicide. There's a problem there. And we need to deal with the violence on both sides. I understand that. But we need to deal with this natural, instinctive violence, and understanding where it comes from is the beginning. I've done all of that work. I've done all of that work. I've done all that research. I've chronicled it. I've written about it. I've recorded it. I've published it. We know it's out there. We know it works. Now we need to implement it. It's that serious. It's that simple. And so here we are. And this is what we're pushing this weekend. So I'm expecting and I'm asking and I'm challenging everybody who watches this to give. The link is going to be in the description box of the video you see. Give, share the link, and challenge 3 other people to give as well. For everybody who donates at least $100, I'm going to send you my book, Born in Captivity. Which is going to outline a lot of the stuff I'm talking about here and so much more. You'll see that there is so much that we can be doing to change our situation that we're not doing. On that note, look, I'm going to get out of here and you'll be hearing from me the rest of the weekend. So on that note, thank you guys for sharing with me. You have an unbelievable day.